In this team comp, I won't include any 5-star characters, and so that everyone has more accessible options in building their team. I based the team compositions on how you built Rosaria. Whether you built her as a hybrid build, physical DPS, cryo DPS, cryo support, and I also considered what artifacts you used. Take note that the teams are not ranked. Here are some teams you can use with Rosaria. Since you already have the 4-set Blizzard Strayer, you'll get a total of 40% crit rate as long as the enemies are always frozen. With double cryo, you get an additional 15% against frozen enemies, and more energy for her. Then Rosaria has her own additional 12% after using her skill, so that's 67% crit rate even with level 0 artifacts. Xingqiu and Rosaria's burst applies Hydro and Cryo fast enough, so you can always freeze your opponents. We use Fischl and Beidou, and even Lisa for Superconduct, which reduces the physical resistance of the opponent by 40%. Even if the reduction divides by 2 when it goes beyond 0, it will still be a big help. If you have C6 Fischl, make sure you always have Xingqiu, or else the enemies will be affected by Electro most of the time, instead of Cryo. I recommend this team especially if you are a low spender or free to play, because you won't have to worry about the crit rate. Chongyun's skill transforms Rosaria's normal attack to cryo. If paired with Xingqiu, enemies will always be frozen, thus maximizing the effect of the 4-set Blizzard. Just take note that the 4-set Blizzard does not apply to Rosaria's second passive talent. It only increases the crit rate of her hits. Chongyun allows Rosaria to constantly attack with cryo. Double cryo also helps Rosaria's energy regeneration. Any pyro character will help increase Rosaria's burst and skill damage by 150% through reverse melt. Double pyro also increases her attack by 25%. However, during auto attacks, Xiangling is the one triggering melt instead of Rosaria because of how fast Rosaria applies cryo to the enemies if she uses Chongyun's skill. However, if you replace Chongyun with someone else, Pyronado will apply faster than Rosaria's burst. Sucrose is the only 4-star Anemo character. She can help in crowd control and increases everyone's elemental mastery. Any Anemo character with a 4-set Viridescent can also decrease enemy resistance to Rosaria's attack. Might also be useful for one-shot showcase. If you're using a 4-set Gladiator, you can go for cryo or physical build. For the 4-set Gladiator, 4-set Bloodstained, and 2 mixed, the teams are interchangeable and we have more freedom in choosing the team. Unlike the 4-set Blizzard, which forces us to run freeze team, the only thing to take note in these teams is that you always want an Electro character. Here are some teams you can play with. Beidou or Fischl allows Superconduct. Fischl gives massive single target attacks, while Beidou provides AoE attacks to several enemies. Xinyan provides 15% physical damage bonus, and her Constellation 4 reduces the enemy's physical resistance by 15. For the healer, you can choose anyone you want. For a pure free-to-play, you can go for this team. You could go for a double GU team if you want more survivability, and for that 15% damage from the GU resonance. For a support Rosaria, here are some teams you can use. Earlier, I mentioned that I'll only use 4-star characters for the teams. Childe is an exception because he is in the same banner anyway. Rosaria's burst applies cryo fast enough, so with Childe and Xingqiu, they would always be frozen. Double cryo resonance for that 15% crit rate against frozen enemies. Rosaria triggers Superconduct, which helps amplify Razor's damage by reducing the physical resistance of the enemy. If you have Snowtube Claymore, Rosaria's burst will increase the hits of its passive. Support Rosaria will also provide additional crit rate to your DPS, taken from 15% of her crit rate, which means if Rosaria has 50% crit rate, your DPS will only get about 7.5 crit rate. With max Constellation, enemy physical resistance is decreased by 20. For DPS Amber, I tried using my level 20 Amber, and Rosaria helps you trigger melt much faster. She does constant off-field cryo application faster than Diona's burst. Will work with your Pyro DPS as well. Even though they have the same hit, almost, you can still pair them as well.